and welcome to What's Your Story? My guest tonight is Denise Atkinson. She is a spiritual medium and a psychic. I hope that you find her story as fascinating as I did. This is part 2 of a 2-part series, so make sure you see both parts of this fascinating interview with this extremely intelligent, educated, and interesting individual. So Denise, welcome.
Hi, Jim.
All right, and we were closing out the last part. We were talking about you communicating with the dead. Mm-hmm. My question to you would be, and I think many people in our viewing audience might want to know also, is death something we should fear?
Well, I don't fear death, but I know a lot of people do fear death.
Yeah. Why? Why do you think that is?
Oh, well, because it's the unknown, and it's permanent. And I think that in itself can be scary, right? I think.
You think because it's the unknown?
It's the unknown, it's permanent, you're leaving people that you love. Yeah, I think that can be kind of scary, don't you think?
Why don't you fear it?
I don't fear it because I had an out-of-body experience after my cancer. I started meditating, and in meditation, I was brought to the other side. I went to a meditation group. It was a guided meditation.
That's the one that changed your life.
It changed my life forever.
So an out-of-body experience, well, meaning what, your Atman or your spirit left your body?
Left my body, it did. Yeah, I mean, she started talking and all of a sudden I didn't hear her anymore. And I closed my eyes and I was immediately in white light with 3 light beings sort of positioning themselves and moving around. And I knew who they were, and I looked and I started to talk to them, and you know, at some point, the meditation was 30 minutes long, but this seemed to be about maybe 2 minutes. They started to move away from me, and then I started to get that tunnel experience, and then it was completely black. And then some energy came up and touched the tip of my nose with a force, and then slowly backed away. And then I heard her say, "You can open your eyes now." And I couldn't open my eyes. I felt this energy hovering above me, which it could possibly have been my soul. And then all of a sudden I opened my eyes. I couldn't talk. It exhausted me, Jim. I went home and went to bed for 3 days. It took that much energy out of me. It was amazing, but it was like being born again. It was everything that had ever happened to me in my life was just gone. You know, all that junk you carry around with you?
All the crap.
All that crap,
yeah.
You know? It was gone. I never from that point on felt any of that hurt or any of it. It was just gone. Wonderful experience.
Excuse me. Many years ago, I read that as humans, we can decide to carry bricks or feathers. Mm-hmm. And most of us, unfortunately, not most of us, but a good number of us choose bricks. Mm-hmm. We want to carry those bricks around and hold on to those things that hold us down instead of those things that liberate us.
Right.
So what I'm getting from you in the first part of this interview and the second part is you're always striving to move to a different level of your existence, one where you find the peace and the joy that this life can bring. Is that fair?
That is an excellent statement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't fear death because of your religious background or because you just don't fear it?
I don't fear it. And I think that out-of-body experience it was so beautiful and so overwhelming. It just was just love. It was pure love.
That's what it was?
It was pure love. It was just an angel or God just wrapping me in this white, beautiful light saying, "We're here for you, we love you, and go do your thing. Because when you come, we'll be here." This is how it feels. Incredible. And I'm talking to you about it now, like, you know, it's a big deal, but before I couldn't even talk about it. I would cry. I couldn't get it out. It took a while. That's how overwhelming and beautiful it was.
Has this only happened once, too?
Only once.
Would you like to have it happen again?
I would love for it to happen again. I would love it. Who wouldn't?
That's right. Who
It's
wouldn't?
better than hitting lotto. That's the way I
There you
feel.
go. Better than hitting the lotto.
Better than hitting lotto.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do people ask you, speaking of that, do people ask you for lotto numbers? Is it?
Do you want to hear my lotto story?
Yeah, tell me the lotto
It's
story.
quick.
Please,
It's quick.
please, please.
I was in the Middle East and I was living there for a little while.
Yes, yes.
And I was out on this boat and my marriage was falling apart and I heard a voice say, "Go home and play your numbers." I have 5 numbers. And I don't play lotto.
Okay.
Okay, so
All
this
right.
is the funny part. So everything falls apart. I go home. I play lotto. Why I played it, I forgot what I was told. But I play my 5 numbers. I don't play my 5 numbers. I'm sitting on the sofa. Lotto comes on TV, which I never watch Lotto. I don't even know what channel it's on.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are my 5 numbers popping up. And I'm looking at that television and I'm saying to myself, you have got to be kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me.
And they were my 5 numbers. It was play 5, $100,000.
Oh, so another time you didn't listen.
Another time.
It cost you $100,000 this time.
I never had it to begin with. So it didn't cost me anything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, there you go. There you go.
Why didn't you do it, Denise? Come on, what happened there?
I was busy. I came home, I was trying to put my family back together from being in the Middle East through a divorce, and it just wasn't priority.
What about Jesus Christ? What role does he play in all of this with you?
I love Jesus.
Talk to me about it.
I love Jesus. He's everything to me. I mean, I pray to him. He's gotten me through some really difficult times.
Has he?
Faith, yeah, sure, faith. The faith that, here's a man, of God who gave his life for all of us to be here. I do believe that. So for me, it's big. That's
What
big.
was your introduction to Jesus? It happened in the Catholic Church?
Geez, I don't remember. I think my grandfather used to read out of the Bible all the time.
Yes,
And so
yes.
that was really the beginning of my relationship with him. I sort of connect everything to my grandfather. So my pop-up.
If you could see Jesus right now, and you knew it was Jesus, and you could ask him one question, what would it be?
I don't think I'd ask him a question. I think I would say to him, "Thank you for my life. I'm grateful.
Thank you for dying so that I could
I can live."
have eternal life.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, so no questions for JC.
No, I don't think so,
All
JC.
No questions for
No
JC.
questions. I think just thankfulness.
Now, when you lived in the Middle East, where did you live?
I lived in Abu Dhabi. And
Abu Dhabi.
Abu
Tell
Dhabi,
people where that is.
Dubai,
What country?
Arab Emirates.
The United Arab Emirates.
That's correct.
All
So
right.
I lived over there for almost a year.
And why were you there?
I was there because my ex-husband in my life, he was working for the Corps of Engineers. And so I got to experience many beautiful moments over there, just, mingling in with the culture and the people. And yeah, I got to see, people were seeing on TV back in 2003, they were seeing all that stuff going on television, turmoil and, everything. And I got to experience something totally different. And that's when I started to turn the television off and stop watching the news, because it's totally different than what you're seeing on
what
the
we
news.
see.
I know there's war going on.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Things that are not good.
Yeah, things that are not good.
The things that are not good, but there's a whole different side of the Middle East.
Yeah.
The culture and the people that are trying to
Food.
live like us, and the food and, family, and they want to go to work just like us, right? Take care of their family just like us.
Now, if I think of the United Arab Emirates, think of Arabic countries,
That's
I'm
correct.
thinking that women have a different role in society, if you will. Did you experience that, or did you not? Because you were an American woman. Did you, the style of dress, were women even driving vehicles over there at that point?
They do. Yes, they did. They did at that point.
So you didn't see the age-old dominance of the female, the subjugation of the female?
I saw some of it.
Okay,
Yes, of course.
how did you see, what was it that you saw?
Well, they wear the bias.
Okay.
Okay, so they wear those, you know, and they basically they weren't working. I didn't see very many of them working at that time, but they were starting to work, and I think they were working more in like women's shops, you know, clothing shops and stuff like that, grocery stores. So they were working, but they had their dress on.
How did you feel as a woman there?
I felt fine. I mean, I dressed appropriately. You know, I didn't expose a lot of skin, you know, and wear short skirts and stuff like we do here. I was appropriate and respectful of the culture.
Okay.
You know, and I think that's the way you should be.
Okay.
When you go over there.
Don't be the ugly American, right?
Yeah, I don't want to be the ugly American.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, and I met a lot of nice people, and I have quite a few friends over there still. So.
Okay. Let's go to Israel. You were there too.
I went to Israel with a church group last year, and that was a moving experience for me. I got to walk in the steps of Jesus.
All right.
And, you know, watch the sunrise on the, you know, Galilee there, the river there, and
Sea of Galilee.
the Sea of Galilee.
Yep.
And that was moving for me. I enjoyed that tremendously, also. So, and I would go back there to Israel.
I've talked to people who've been to Israel, and they say that religious people, because most of the people I know who would go would be with a church or that kind of group.
Right.
And they say it's a phenomenally emotional experience and wonderful to be there and know that this is where Jesus Christ actually did his thing, was tried, crucified, and rose from the dead.
That's right.
Now, when you were there and you walked those places, did you feel a special communion with Jesus?
You know, I didn't. I think it was because I was so busy looking at things and in awe of stuff.
All right,
I
yeah.
think if I go back for the second time, I will. But there was one moment, actually, now that you bring me to that moment, it was where I went down and watched the sunrise on the Sea of Galilee all by myself. I walked down a dark path and found a place to sit on a dock. And the birds were, you know, flying, and the sound of the bells were moving because I was on the dock.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I think there was a connection because that's where he spent time, right?
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful moment for me. My heart chakra, if you know anything about chakras, it was completely open, and I just absorbed all of it was amazing, really amazing. And it's so old over there. Is what was really impressive to me. You know, there's Byzantine period.
Yeah, antiquity.
You know, there's antiquity. It's
yes,
just so
yes,
old.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So.
My audience would probably want to know, and they're saying, Jim, get to it. Come on. Please start at the beginning and explain to us exactly what a reading is. How does it start? How do you get me? What do you do? Yada, yada, yada. Please talk us through a reading.
Okay, so readings for me, I don't do a lot of advertising, and readings for me are basically word of mouth. So someone will come to me, they'll give me just their first name, we make an appointment, they come into my office over at the Bridge Healing Arts Center in Farmington, and we sit down, I say a prayer, and then we go right into the reading. That's how it works.
So tell us about the drawing while you're...
Oh, the automatic writing? I'm
Yes.
constantly writing while I'm talking and looking away because it's a download of information. I'm talking so quickly and that my mind or the information is being downloaded, I don't want to miss anything. So I'm writing the information as I'm talking. And the paper that I give you looks a mess, but you could figure out all the things that I said to you. So it's the automatic writing also.
How long does a reading last?
45 minutes to an hour. I never cut a reading off. I mean, if it needs to go a little bit longer, that's fine. It's not a problem.
So I would come in through word of mouth, just like you said.
Through word of mouth.
And then do I have to meet with you before the reading, or do I come in and get the reading that day?
You come in and get the reading that day.
Oh, okay.
You make an appointment with me, you call me.
Okay.
Or find me on Facebook.
All right. Okay.
And, you know, we make an appointment and you come in that day and we do the reading that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I walk out of there either impressed or depressed, I guess.
I hope not depressed.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe amazed.
Maybe amazed. Maybe amazed. Yeah.
Amazed would be a better word.
Maybe, no, walk
I
out of there.
can't believe she brought that through. Yeah.
Let's get serious for a moment.
Okay.
You gave an example of a man who had been sexually abused by his brother. And you gave that as an example of your being able to use your gift to really help someone and set them free from what they had been feeling inside for a number of years. Would you please talk to our audience about that?
Sure.
Yes.
I did a reading with a young man who's a police officer. I won't mention any names.
Right.
This story stayed with me because it just, when he left, he felt such an overwhelming feeling of relief. His dad was passing, and I'm clairvoyant, so I see things through my third eye. And he went into I just start giving him information. I see you going into the hospital room. I see you seeing your dad, and I see everyone in your family leaving as you walk in. And he was not speaking to his family. So that's what I'm seeing. So you're not speaking to your family. There's a separation here. Your dad passes. And I told him about his dad passing. I saw him in the bed. He visited his dad. I said, your dad wants you to know that he knows about the sexual abuse. And there's a connection here with your brother. And I feel like your brother is the monster here. And he just started crying because he told his mother didn't believe him, and that separated the family. So what I was seeing in my third eye of the family leaving him, there was that division of his family. They didn't want to speak to him anymore, right? Because they didn't believe him. So me bringing through the dad passing, that whole situation of his family leaving the hospital room, and him standing there all alone, and his dad coming through with that information about the brother sexually molesting him. I mean, nobody knew that but his family. I had never met him before. And he just said, thank you. I mean, he couldn't say thank you enough because he was validated at that moment. And he knew at that moment that his dad knew that happened. And it was truth.
And that was his struggle over the years?
That was his struggle. I mean, you know, how difficult can that be to tell your mother something that she won't listen to you, she doesn't believe you, and the father brings it through.
And the family is broken into pieces as a result of it, and you're ostracized.
Yeah.
Wow. And he apparently felt, as a big, strong police officer, nobody would ever look at him and know his terrible secret.
No one knows his terrible secret, but, you know, maybe his mother doesn't believe it, and I know it. But, I mean, to be validated, finally, and his father knows, he knows his father knows. Because his father wasn't speaking when he went in to visit his father in the hospital. His father was just about to cross over. And so he just stood there and held his dad's hand and was talking to him, he told me. And he was telling him things, and his dad couldn't hear him, but I'm sure his dad could hear him. I mean, you know, so. And I was able to give that to him. So for me to be able to help him, to be the channel, to be able to do that, it's not me. I believe it's God.
You're the vessel.
I'm the vessel. I'm channeling the information. It just leaves my heart open. Just, I feel such, you know, love for that person.
Are there people you refuse to read for whatever reasons? Or you read anybody?
I haven't come across anyone that I wouldn't read. Yeah, no, I'm pretty open to read anyone. There are people who don't need readings. I don't feel like taking someone's money if they don't need a reading. I mean...
What do you mean they don't need a reading?
Well, you know, if someone's looking for love or something like that, I mean, are you leaving your house is my question,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Are you joining a group? Are you talking to people?
Right.
You know, you don't need to sit with me. This is about connecting to the other side. I mean, if you're having a problem with what direction to go in your life, that's more psychic, that's the more clairvoyant, I could sort of tell you, you know, possibly you're a teacher and I can see you teaching. But this is more mediumship, and it's more about connecting to the other side for me.
Denise, what is the difference between being a clairvoyant and a psychic? What is the difference?
Well, it's the same. Clairvoyant, psychic, you see things.
Okay.
You know.
So
Yeah.
you get this strong image in your mind.
Well, it's not in my mind. It's almost like in my third eye. It's
And
connected
where's that
with
third eye?
it's connected to the pituitary.
Really?
The pituitary gland, and it is that end. It between the center of the brow, and it's like an eye. You ever see that eye that just opens?
Yeah, I've seen that on the Twilight Zone. Yeah,
There you go.
I saw that.
It's exactly. It just opens up.
I saw that.
And I could see things.
Yes.
I could see possibly what somebody was doing before they died. I had one woman who came to me, and her father put a screen door on. That was the last thing he did before he died. And
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that, and I said, "Oh, see, I see your dad putting a screen door on." She said, "Oh my God, that's what he did. That was the last thing he did for my mother." So,
Wow.
I mean, you know.
Now, when we met, you talked about that being a woman is the essence of life.
It is.
All right, talk to us about that. What is it?
Well, I think for me, I'm a woman, and I believe that we teach people how to love and nurture and care for another human being, right? We're a mother, a child, and we give that, I think, to our children. So I'm not saying a man can't do that.
Thank you very much.
We just do it differently.
Is that- All right, guys out there, don't get offended. Don't get offended. She's not attacking us.
No.
She's just saying women deliver love in a different way.
We do.
Oh, okay.
We do.
And I asked you before, would you want to be a man if you...
No.
No.
No, thank you. I love men.
Not for a second, though.
But
You
I
wanna
don't
be
want to
one.
be one. No, no, I don't want to be one.
Why
Thank
not?
you.
Why wouldn't you want to be a man?
I don't know. The liberals might kill me for this one.
Go right ahead.
I don't want to go to war. I don't want a gun. I don't want to sign up for the military. I just don't. I like who I am. I'm at peace with who I am.
You don't want to be in a foxhole.
I don't want to be in a foxhole. I don't want to be dirty. I don't want to be dirty at all.
You don't want to go months without a bath in the bush, right?
No, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, there are other reasons. I'm
Absolutely.
being funny, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And when I was talking with you, you talked about the inner peace, the peace within oneself. What were you exactly alluding to when you did that?
Well, I think I used to be a bit of a control freak when I was younger. Everything had to be perfect. I had a lot of things happen to me, young. And I've just found peace with myself, with that out-of-body experience, with going to, I also went to India and did that little spiritual journey there. And I find that I like to be at peace. I don't like a lot of confrontation in my life. And, we're all created from one place, from God. And I like to be friends.
How can you direct people to find their inner peace?
I think meditation helps. I think volunteering,
Yes.
contributing to society. You'll find peace in doing that, helping others. I think there's peace in that.
There's peace in helping others.
Oh, sure.
And you definitely believe in meditation.
Oh, I definitely believe in meditation.
Okay.
I definitely do.
Well, listen, thank you so very much for coming and sharing your life
thank
and your
you.
story with us tonight.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for this edition of What's Your Story? I want to thank my guest, Denise Atkinson, for being here. This is the second part of a two-parter. Remember, everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time, good night.